You're watching Extras from the Extension on Eagle Community Television. This show is brought to you by Carico Implement.
Hello, I'm Stacy Campbell with K-State Research and Extension of Ellis County. And today I've got a special guest with me, Augustine Obour, who's with the experiment station here in Hayes. And actually, though, we're not out at the experiment station. We're on some ground that the KSU Foundation owns. It's over in Trego County, south of Cedar Bluff, called the HB Ranch. And Augustine is doing some research out here, and we're going to talk about that. Augustine, you're looking at different cover crop mixes and how to integrate that into our wheat, sorghum, fallow type rotations that farmers are doing out here in western Kansas. Cover crops has kind of gotten to be popular among some of the no-till farmers. Why is that?
Yeah, cover crops have several benefits. If you grow cover crops in our dryland systems, we have wheat, sorghum, fallow rotation, that's it. So if you have cover crops in, you can diversify your crop rotation, and it also has advantages of adding residue to the soil. So you can get improvement in your soil quality, you can have suppression of weeds, you can have, improve your nutrient cycling in the system. And it also, one important thing is you have residue cover, so it reduces wind erosion from your fields.
Okay. Yeah, and of course, most of the viewers probably know, but we're talking about residue, we're talking about what's left after the crop is harvested, the leaves and the stems, the stalks. We've learned anymore in farming that's good to try to leave as much of that, what we call crop residue, on the soil surface. Yeah, because we all know, as today, for example, it's windy and the wind can really blow and we can start losing our topsoil. So, Augustine, what are some of let's talk about advantages, disadvantages of cover crops that we've seen so far here in Kansas?
Well, the advantages, I think I alluded it before, like you have cover, since we have a lot of wind blowing, wind erosion is a common process, so you have the residue cover, you prevent erosion to lose your topsoil, so it kind of help you benefit your soil. But some of the major disadvantage in growing cover crops is cover crops, like any other crop, uses water.
Right.
So during spring, when you grow your cover crops, and then if you don't have any more moisture in the summer, and then you lose moisture. So at the time you come and plant, then you won't have adequate moisture for your subsequent crop.
Yeah.
So that is one of the disadvantages of growing cover crops. But ways guys are going about this is, if you grow the cover crop and utilize it for forage, then you can actually benefit, like you can elevate some of the revenue losses from reduction in your wheat yields. So if you use it for forage, then you can recoup some of the revenue losses in case you don't have adequate moisture and your wheat yields decrease. But in some years, you grow cover crop, you don't see any decrease in wheat yields. Actually, our research in Garden City is showing that, and quite frankly, from here you can see our wheat that we planted to cover crops last year and planted it into wheat. We don't see any difference in the wheat from the fallow plot and where we planted the cover crop.
Right, and yes, so one of the advantages to offset that additional expense of planting this cover crop into fallow is to possibly look at either haying or grazing it.
Yep.
And you guys are doing some of that research out here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are doing here. We have cover crops that we planted here right now. This is triticale, spring triticale that we planted it here. So in the first week in June, we will come and harvest half of it as a hay, stimulating hay harvesting. And then there are plots here that we are going to actually graze. So
okay.
Last year we put our cattle in on May 19th. They grazed for 5 days, and then we took them off. And then we will spray this all around June 10th to terminate it. So if we have moisture in June, July, August, September, so you have about 4 months before you plant your wheat crop in October. So
yeah.
You get some moisture to recharge the soil before you plant your wheat. So in that case, you don't lose anything. You actually benefiting from all the moisture that you are getting
Right. And also some of the guys, from what I'm understanding, are realizing with the cover crop that can reduce some of their herbicide investment in fewer sprays too.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Last year when we planted these cover crops, we didn't spray any herbicide before we planted. We just came in and planted our cover crops. And then we terminated the cover crops in June. So we sprayed it once, and then we came back and planted our wheat. In October, there were no weeds here. The fallow plot, we have to spray it 3 times before wheat planting.
And Garden City's has done a number of years of research on it, and I think you kind of alluded to it a little bit. Moisture is definitely a driving force with having a little better success with cover crops and subsequent yields of your next crop. I believe their research has found in really dry years, you do get more yield from your fallow ground versus ground with cover crops. But if you can offset some of that possible yield loss with, as we're talking about, maybe some forage.
From forage,
grazing cattle or haying it, there's give and take there. And so I think it's great that you guys are doing this research. Definitely is kind of I'll say a hot topic in agriculture right now with our no-tillers. And it's still pretty new, even though there's been guys doing it for a while. And so it's great y'all are doing this research. Look forward to seeing what the results will be down the road. And Augustine, we just appreciate you doing this work, and we appreciate your time today.
All right, thank you very much.
You bet. Well, this has been Stacy Campbell with K-State Research and Extension of Ellis County, and Augustine Obour with the Ag Experiment Station in Hayes and Eagle Community Television.
You're watching extras from the Extension on Eagle Community Television. This show is brought to you by Carico Implement.
Spring is here, and that means it's time to come out and visit Carico Implement in Hayes, Kansas for all your lawn care needs. We stock and sell the full line of John Deere riding lawn equipment, along with Honda walk-behind mowers and generators. We also offer the full lineup of steel power products. If your project requires even more muscle, check out our full lineup of John Deere compact tractors and skid loaders. And don't forget, we have the parts and services to keep you up and running all spring long. So whatever your spring lawn care and maintenance needs are, come on out to Carico Implement for a solution that fits.